You've learned about essential and non-essential clauses and phrases, but this is just to reinforce the concepts that you've learned. We're going to take an example of a slightly long sentence and how it's been broken up into clauses or phrases in the middle. And this is an exercise just to teach you to identify whether something is a clause or a phrase and whether it's essential or non-essential. Here's the sentence. The same manufactured landscapes that have enabled California's tremendous growth, building the state into a 3 trillion economy that is home to 1 in 10 Americans, have also left it more exposed to climate shocks, experts say. Right? I'm asking you to look at this part which has been put in bold, that have enabled California's tremendous growth. It comes in the middle of the sentence. Two things I want you to determine: is it a phrase or a clause? And if it's either, is it essential or non-essential? Right? So if I need to determine this, first, it's important to identify what is the sentence talking about. Such a long sentence. What are we talking about? We're talking about landscapes, the same manufactured landscapes. Okay, and then the bit that I have put in bold, that have enabled California's tremendous growth, is a description about landscapes. That is the landscapes which have enabled California's tremendous growth. What is that? A phrase or a clause? It's got the subject, that. It's got the verb, and therefore it is a clause. Right, so that much has been established. But where is the verb for landscapes? Right? So this is the description that you have. The subject is the landscapes and you have a description for it. Is it ending with that? No. Right? Where is the main verb? Is it building the state into? No. ing verbs will not be the main verbs. Then, that is home to 1. Have also left it more exposed. So it's that far away. Now, in your mind, it's important to scratch out the bit which is again an interrupter in between. So I'm now concentrating on the bold bit plus the remaining, taking out the 2 bits in commas. The 1 bit between 2 commas. So the same manufactured landscapes that have enabled California's tremendous growth have also left it more exposed to climate shocks, experts say. Now what's the next thing I do? Whether I've already determined it's a clause, next thing I check is it essential or essential, non-essential or essential? What do I need to do? Without this, will I still know what I'm talking about? So I remove the that have enabled California's tremendous growth. If I do that, because the verb is far away, just to get it in perspective, I put it like this. The same manufactured landscapes have also left it more exposed to climate shocks, experts say. Do I know which landscapes? No, I've left out a crucial information, the ones that enabled California's tremendous growth. That is what I was talking about. So now we know that it is very, very essential to the sentence. It is a essential quantity, and we already established that it is a clause. So this description is essential and it is a clause, and therefore it is an essential clause. We move on to another part of that same long sentence, the same manufactured landscapes that have enabled California's tremendous growth, building the state into a $3 trillion economy that is home to 1 in 10 Americans, have also left it more exposed to climate shocks, experts say. So the first part we addressed, and now the part in bold is building the state into a 3 trillion economy that is home to 1 in 10 Americans. What is that? Is it a clause or a phrase? Is there a subject? What is building the state? See, I can see it starts with the ing form. In all probability, it's not going to be a clause. Okay, building the state into something. What is building the state? The subject is not there. And so I know that it is a phrase. It is another description of what? Of the manufactured landscapes. So it is a phrase. Now, next thing I want to determine. So interrupters can be phrases and clauses. I know that. I need to determine whether this is essential or non-essential. Okay, so what is the way I determine that? This bit I remove from the sentence and I check whether it will still give me or let me know what I'm talking about. So this is how I'm going to determine it's essential or non-essential. If I remove it, I have the same manufactured landscapes that have enabled California's tremendous growth have also left it more exposed to climate shocks, experts say. The bit that I left out, which I was trying to determine, building the state into a 3 trillion economy that is home to 1 in 10 Americans, is just extra information. So it is a non-essential phrase. So let's take more examples, interrupters in the form of phrases. See, many of the non-essential clauses that you saw in our own exercises earlier can thus be converted into non-essential phrases if we remove the who, which, whom, etc. Roger Federer, who was one of the greatest tennis players of all times, won 20 Grand Slam singles titles. This is a clause. If I remember who was, I've taken away the verb, I've taken away the subject. What I'm left with is Roger Federer, one of the greatest tennis players of all times, won 20 Grand Slam singles titles. This bit is now a phrase, and it's still non-essential because I know whom I'm talking about. Roger Federer won 20 Grand Slam singles titles. If I remove this, it makes complete sense. I can still identify the subject. Similarly, another one, the Statue of Liberty, which was designed by French sculptor Frederic Auguste Bartholdi, represents a Roman liberty goddess, which was designed by French sculptor so and so. That's a clause, right? Because it's got the subject which, it's got the verb was. If I remove which was and write as the Statue of Liberty designed by French sculptor so and so. Designed by French sculptor is just a phrase. Where is the subject? What was designed is not there. Which was designed, then the which becomes the subject. Here, which was has been removed. It's a phrase. Again, it remains non-essential.